He's so diversified, he doesn't even know what he owns.
How long has InGen been practicing this pitch?
Since the day we hired you out of the Navy. War is a struggle. Struggle breeds greatness.
Do you hear yourself when you talk?
This is gonna happen. With or without you boys. Progress always wins, man.
Maybe progress should lose for once.
In 2015, Jurassic World introduced audiences to the Indominus Rex, the film series' first official hybrid dinosaur ever before shown in a Jurassic Park movie. And at the time leading up to its release, as well as going forward, the concept of hybrid dinosaurs has been discussed at length when it comes to how this franchise has evolved, with this animal of course being the catalyst for other such creatures like the Indoraptor and Scorpius Rex arriving soon after. But when it comes down to the works of both Michael Crichton and Steven Spielberg and their relationships as well as past endeavors with Jurassic Park, the introduction of the Indominus Rex is much more complex than what I think a lot of people have actually been willing to explore. So in this video, I wanted to do just that, and dedicate a Jurassic Park history and behind-the-scenes examination on how this dinosaur came to be, and why I think the I-Rex is possibly one of the most important animals this franchise has had to date. Now before I go any further, I want to mention to you guys that today's video is sponsored by CuriosityStream, the subscription streaming service that offers thousands of non-fiction titles, documentaries, and exclusive originals from some of the world's best filmmakers. CuriosityStream is the Netflix for nerds, the Hulu for history buffs, and the Disney Plus for the scientist in us all. And at under $20 a year, it's extremely affordable, coming out to about $1.67 per month. Now the reason that I've always thought that CuriosityStream is such a great sponsor for my channel is the fact that they have a wide selection of dinosaur documentaries for people to choose from. Just like this one called T.rex Timeline, which actually has a segment talking about Moros intrepidus, which is of course a new animal that we got to see in the Jurassic World Dominion prologue. This is the entertainment brand for people that want to learn more, and it's available on Roku, Android, Xbox, iOS, Chromecast, Amazon, Apple, and several smart TVs as well. New shows come out every week, so whether you want to learn about science, sports, music, technology, nature, or history, you can find it all on CuriosityStream. Just go to curiositystream.com/Clayton for unlimited access to the world's top documentaries and nonfiction series. And just for you guys, use the promo code Clayton and you'll save 25% off, which comes out to only $14.99 a year. So click the link below or go to curiositystream.com/Clayton and save 25% right now. So once again, thanks to CuriosityStream for sponsoring today's video. Now, back to Jurassic Park. Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now to start off our conversation on the Indominus, I think it's important to go back to the earliest versions of this incarnation of JP4. When Steven Spielberg finally got the ball rolling on the 4th chapter of the Jurassic Park franchise, everything was pretty much in place and ready to go before the Indominus Rex was even created. Because at the time, film directors like J.A. Bayona, who would later go on to direct the 5th Jurassic Park movie, were in talks with others to direct a script that was already finalized and ready for production. This script involved a new dinosaur antagonist that was not a hybrid with other dinosaurs, but also one that did not exist in the real world, with the producers opting to create a totally fictional animal that they would have named the Mallosaurus as the new big bad in the movie. But that all changed when Colin Trevorrow came in to bring Jurassic Park 4 to the big screen. Reworking the Mallosaurus into a more sci-fi focused hybrid dinosaur was something that the director felt would be much more faithful to the source material and spirit of Jurassic Park and paleontology, since creating a brand new animal from scratch pretty much throws out the fossilized library of animals to choose from completely and doesn't really take advantage of what Crichton wrote of in his books when it came to genetic engineering. In fact, in going back to the first book, much of the conversation between Dr. Wu and John Hammond that involved designer dinosaurs made specifically to cater to park guests' needs was adapted for a scene involving Simon Masrani and Dr. Wu, which can be found in the chapter titled Version 4.4 in Jurassic Park. Now, upon release, the Indominus Rex immediately drew comparisons to an abandoned Jurassic Park storyline that was almost made in 1998 called Chaos Effect, which would have been an animated show centered around fusing different dinosaur species together in order to create new hybrids. The show didn't end up getting made, however the toy line in support of it would come out, and it would be one of the last Kenner-produced Jurassic Park entries before Hasbro absorbed the responsibilities pre-JP3. Now, the interesting thing about Chaos Effect is that it actually includes a dinosaur that has some notable similarities to the Indominus Rex, as far as description goes. And while many people would like to attribute the I-Rex to being inspired by the much more wacky Ultimasaurus, I think the real answer is actually Jurassic Park's Velociraptor X hybrid. If you ever owned this Dinosaurs figure or have known about its inclusion in the Chaos Effects storyline, you may have noticed a big similarity between both it and the Indominus Rex's behavioral descriptions, with the back of the box plainly reading, quote, "highly intelligent and clever. It usually stalks its prey in packs and has been known to hunt for sport," which is quite similar to the reveal that Owen Grady gives the audience when the dead apatosaurs are shown to being killed for the same reasons in Jurassic World. Now, the idea of a super raptor, so to speak, didn't originate in Chaos Effect, since Steven Spielberg mentioned he had toyed with the idea of a more monstrous raptor in The Lost World before cutting it from the film, but the entire hybrid dinosaur model for future stories does seem to originate in these old ideas from the 1990s, but those ideas themselves have a much earlier origin that dates back to some of the ideas discussed in Crichton's work. Now, this can also be attributed to the original Jurassic Park film, because there it's revealed that mixing different animals' DNA with the prehistoric species has given them unforeseen side effects, such as breeding in the first Jurassic Park movie. But this idea goes way deeper and more in depth in Crichton's first book, where he actually details the abilities of some animals to be even more diverse, such as the Tyrannosaurus Rex's eyesight, for example, which was a result of mixing the amphibian DNA, and even the interesting situation of a wild-born velociraptor named Clarence, who possesses the ability to change colors, almost like that of a chameleon. And then, of course, there was the Carnotaurus introduced in the Lost World novel that had chromatophores all over their bodies, giving them camouflaging abilities in the second book. And while this has never necessarily been 100% confirmed to be a result of DNA hybridization, it is a notable difference as to how the animals of Jurassic Park are given chaotic abilities, different to what you'd find in real-world science. However, when it came down to the film series, none of this was ever really touched on until Jurassic World, and even then, none of it was actually done until you got the Indominus Rex, which did pick up its camouflaging ability from the Crichton novel, and also had a lot of other abilities attributed to it from other modern-day animals, such as the ability to sense thermal signatures like snakes. Nowhere in The Lost World or Jurassic Park 3, or even the original Jurassic Park, did anyone ever mention side effects from genetic engineering being relevant in any of the species, and the only time it ever did get brought up was for the uncontrolled breeding specifically. That one plot point was all we got in the first 3 movies, when the book had quite a lot of different abnormalities to talk about. This resulted in many animals having their unique characteristics either stripped away or being explained through other means in the film adaptations, such as the aforementioned Tyrannosaur eyesight being canonically explained via Alan Grant's known paleontology-based research, and wild-born raptor camouflaging getting abandoned completely. Other animals possessed abilities like venom spitting or a narcotic bite that was sort of left up in the air as to how this came to be, since the scientists in the books never really went into detail about this being either an in-universe reality from a paleontological level, or just how the animals were once InGen hybridized them. However, it should be noted that sequels like The Lost World and JP3 opted to only focus on the amphibian DNA mix that led to breeding, and no such exploration of other genetic anomalies ever really came up at all. And that's what I think makes the Indominus Rex so interesting in the context of Jurassic World, because for the first time in the series history, they could actually explore some of these scientific ideas outside of animals based in the fossil record. And part of me thinks that could be the result of modern paleontology-based communities becoming far more demanding when it comes to representations of the extinct animals that this film series makes stories about. For example, if the camouflaging Carnotaurus from Michael Crichton's novel had been adapted in The Lost World back in 1997, I don't necessarily think anyone would be too bothered, but had it made its appearance in Fallen Kingdom instead of a more animalistic representation that we got in the 2018 movie, well then I think no matter what, criticism would be directed towards the Jurassic Park license as a whole. Whereas with this dinosaur hybridization idea, Jurassic World kind of takes the heat off of the original books and movies by giving it to a genetically engineered monster that serves the purpose of telling an original story. And that story actually played heavily into the ideas of doing something just because you could, despite the fact fact that you probably shouldn't, which of course was the first time a Jurassic Park movie had tackled that idea from a genetic engineering perspective since the first film. It also served the purpose of adapting a lot of the ideas from Michael Crichton, whether it be the aforementioned version 4.4 chapter, or the camouflaging abilities that the author gave to his dinosaurs in the second book. So the Indominus Rex served as kind of a vehicle that Colin Trevorrow created to really breathe life back into these abandoned ideas from Jurassic Park's past that had been tried a few times before in animated series and toy lines, but never really came to the film series until 2015. This dinosaur in many ways represents the themes and critiques that Jurassic Park gives modern science in a very idealistic way, mixing criticisms of blind ambition, greed, genetic anomalies, and the ethics of progress for the sake of progress in a very visual way. From the osteoderms that cover the animal's body down to the jagged teeth that make up its muzzle, this is in many ways, in my opinion, an encapsulation of many of the brand's ideas and messages brought together in one new creation that drove the story forward for not only Jurassic Park 4, but also the Jurassic World trilogy as a whole. It also created a new animal that actually made sense in the canon of the Jurassic Park franchise, as opposed to what they were originally going to do by just creating a new paleontologically based species out of thin air without hybridization through their Malleosaurus, which, don't get me wrong, the design looks really cool, but I personally think that's not really utilizing the franchise's story points and themes and messages as well as it could be doing. And look, personally, I never liked the idea of them just making up a new dinosaur. I mean, if you're gonna do that, why not use the genetic engineering stuff that's in the books and in the first movie? You don't have to lie to kids and say Malleosaurus was dug up in China. I never liked that idea. All in all, the popularity of the Indominus Rex has proved to be an extremely important part of the series going forward, with the animal regularly getting attention and becoming the focus of many Jurassic World discussions that eventually led back to the original Jurassic Park novel. If I had to put an actual assessment to this dinosaur's importance, I would probably say that in the grand scale of the franchise, Jurassic Park's most important dinosaurs would be things like Tyrannosaurus, Velociraptor, and then probably the Indominus Rex when it came to actual story beats, plot progression, thematic messages, and overall focus when it came to how these films have gone about telling stories. Other animals are of course important in their own ways, like Compys, the Mosasaur, and the Spino, but none of these really got a thorough exploration like what the other three I've listed have had before in the series history. The Indominus Rex is an animal that has carved its name into the Jurassic Park brand in a pretty big way, and that's why I think it's one of the most important animals in the series history to date. But hey, what do all of you guys think? How important is the I-Rex in relation to other dinosaurs of this film series? And how important do you think it will be in the years to come? I've given my opinions, but whatever your own thoughts happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it really means the world to me that you all continue to support what I do, and I never want you to ever forget that. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video and hope that you all enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.